Oh yes, really nailed that intro, look at that. Anyway, this is about my attempts to make photography, or astrophotography more to the point, a little bit easier for myself. One of the main issues that I've got is light pollution where I am at the moment. Things like moons, planets, they're relatively easy to take photos of because they bounce a lot of light, or photons basically often, which we can see because they're very bright in the sky. Now, when you're trying to take photos of darker things, like the first photo, nebulas, you need to set the camera up for long exposures. And one of the issues with long exposures is if you're in light polluted areas, you see a lot of this grey, shiny light come up. And the longer exposures release more of that light and less of the background stars that I actually want to take photos of. Now, here's a really good example. This is the Flame Nebula, and if you look at the bottom right hand side, there's also the Horsehead Nebula here. This is about 50 minutes worth of 1 minute exposures. They're all stacked on top of each other. So, having got to this quandary, I decided this is a problem that needs a bit of grit and a bit of daring do. So I got straight down to it. I want to be able to see things in real time in dark skies, and the only way to do that is to increase the photon count. Now, problems like this require you taking it by the teeth, basically throwing it from side to side for a bit until you get what you want. One of the best things that I think I've come across is a couple of other people have done this with image intensifier tubes. So here we go. So this is the image intensifying tube from a 1980s combat vehicle. It can give low light capabilities, multiplication of about 100,000 times, maybe a bit more if the gain's turned up. But when you turn it up a bit too much, it'll introduce a lot of noise as well, which is what we don't want in pictures. So if you look through the pictures here, we've got really bad ones actually of the tube itself, but you can also see some 3D renderings here for bits to make the tube into essentially a camera stroke telescope. Took a bit of while to learn that in Blender, which is a third-party software, but it works really well with a 3D printer, which I'm now trying to master as well. So kudos on that for me. Ta-da! And there's the finished item, complete with 3D printed rings to hold it in alignment with the rail below it. It's got a 135mm Pentax lens with a very fast f2.8, I believe, on the front. And there's the battery on top, which is a USB battery add-on. Runs at 5.7 volts, so it's literally ideal for the tube, which is beneath it all. And there we have the rear lens, which is essentially a 50mm biconvex, so basically a magnifying glass to help magnify the image from the small output screen. Works quite well, but it's got sort of stretching at the edges of the field, which I don't like, so I'll probably rechange it. Oh, and here's the camera saddle. Right, you can see by the differing colours here that I should have maybe measured it to start with properly instead of eyeballing it, but what can you do? I don't know. Anyway, let's have a look at some images I captured with it. Right, so here we go. First image in the series in the kitchen, looking through a servant window. You can see the curve there from the lens, but that's pretty much standard with a fast lens. The bit that's out of focus is closer to me, background's not, that's the bit that's in focus. This one was pretty sharp. I think I actually removed the lens for this, but it's a really sharp image. You can see the green light lighting up the tube around it, which I don't want. That's going to be gone. This is one from the back garden. The tree is about 300 feet away. Fence isn't. It's not the sharpest image, but I think I might have turned down the iris on this so there's less light coming in. That might have been a factor as well. And this is a night sky image. This was actually quite a wispy, cloudy night. I could see probably about one or two of these stars. The rest are showing up in the image intensifier. If I turn the gain up, I'd probably get even more here. So overall, quite pleased with it. Right, now let's go over to some moving images. This was one of the nights that I had a look at. The sky wasn't too bad, but it was still, you can see cloud in the top left hand side moving through the middle here. It wasn't the best of nights for seeing, but I could see probably in the entire sky about a dozen stars with the naked eye. This is what I'm seeing just panning around to the east side of my garden. As you can see, there's a lot more visible stars here. On a clear night, maybe a lower Bortle sky, I'm really looking forward to this. When we get to darker skies, it will be absolutely fantastic, I reckon. As you can see, panning round, can see the tops of trees here. Again, not as sharp. I've seen some online nowadays, seeing stuff in the dark with sharpness the same way you see in daylight isn't the same. They're just not as sharp. But there is something I can do on the lenses to clean up the image quite a bit, so I'll be working on those now. But I mean, look at these stars, look. It's just incredible that I cannot see literally most of these stars. The majority of these stars I cannot see. So this part here is clearer on the sky, but as we turn over towards the right a bit more, which is now heading towards southwest, you will see that the image starts to become a little bit more fuzzy, and I cannot see these stars at all. I cannot see these satellites that are heading out on the right hand side here. There's 4 of them there. I cannot see any of these. You can see the coma towards the edge here, which is what is really bugging me now. But the amount of light these things gather is incredible. I was blown away once I got it working, and I don't think it's anywhere near its potential yet. Eventually I want to hang this off the side of a big telescope that I have and use the aperture there, which is this has got a 135mm lens on it. One of them's 1100mm, so this will treble the light gathering capacity of that particular telescope tube. So I'm looking forward to some very good images of dark sky objects, things like nebulas, star clusters, that kind of thing, once I've actually got it working. And because we're in a move moment heading up to Scotland, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to. You can see the clouds wisping over here. You literally cannot see these stars. You can see maybe 1 or 2 of them on this side. There's that tree again, that's sort of 300 feet away. The clarity's a little bit better this time. I don't know what I've changed here. Maybe the gain might be a bit up or so. But you can also see the bits on the right hand side. There's bits of dirt on the screen itself where I drilled a tiny 2.5mm screw on it to hold the lens in place properly. This is next door's garage shed roof. You can see the clarity here. This is dark outside. You can see the clarity here when I'm zooming or focusing in and out. And again, the stars have become big because they're out of focus, but the roof's in focus. Again, this is not an issue, but it's a feature of fast lenses. And as you zoom out to infinity or focus out to infinity, the roof becomes out of focus. See, backwards, forwards there. That's part of the thing. So hopefully I'm going to get this lens a little bit sharper on there, or maybe try a projector lens with a more open and no aperture on it. That might help as well, but overall it's quite sharp. I'm liking it. Yeah, I'm very pleased. So overall, now that I've got it working, I can now do adjustments on the lensing and camera features basically, which I'm looking forward to. I'll probably once I've had once I understand fully what I'm doing, I will probably make another video with some better issues. Hopefully by then, it's going to take a couple of months, to be honest, once I've got everything sorted out at the new place, of getting the telescope hooked up to it, or an adapter to hook it up to the telescope properly. I've got to do some mods to the mount on that to get it motorized better, because the existing motors in the Celestron EQ mount are not particularly great, and I've got better ones for it, so that's another electronics mod I'll be doing. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. The scenes will be better once I've got it figured out, and I'll be able to take better images and put them on here. Thanks a lot for coming along and watching on this dynamic venture, so to speak. Speak to you soon. Cheerio. Bye.